Hi, thanks for joining me. My name's Kerri Hanlon, and I'm a yoga teacher and studio owner in suburban Philadelphia. I created this class specifically to address all of you who've experienced pregnancy loss, infant loss, and child loss. As you may know, it can feel incredibly isolating to have this experience, and yet it is so common. 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage, 1 in 160 end in stillbirth. And that's not even including all of the other contributing factors. So my hope for you is that you carve out maybe just the next 15 minutes to just give yourself a little bit of time and space to process things on a physical level, a mental level, and an emotional level. I'm going to invite you to come onto your back to start. So the only thing you might want to have on hand is a blanket, so you could go grab one of those if you wish. Come onto your back and set yourself up so that your knees are bent. Feet can be, if you have a yoga mat, that's fine, but you certainly don't need one. But feet are going to be wider than your knees. And then take your hands, you'll make a little diamond shape with your thumb and your pointer finger and bring that over your belly. Specifically, I invite you to have your thumbs connect right at navel center, and the other fingers are directed down towards your pubic bone. And if you're comfortable closing your eyes, you could do that. If you prefer to have your eyes open, maybe you could just let your gaze be soft. And just pause for a moment here, noticing if you're holding tension somewhere in your body. It might be in your face, it might be your shoulders, your hips. And then perhaps you could notice the rhythm of your breath. As you're breathing in, perhaps in this position, you feel your belly expand. And as you exhale, perhaps you feel your belly contract back in. Let yourself pause here and breathe. I want to share with you, this is a passage from a book that I found very healing called Good Grief. Deborah Morris Coriel says, among the most frequently repeated phrases about suffering is that time heals all wounds, or this too shall pass. Time passes, it does not heal. Healing is an active process, not a passive one. And so give yourself a little pat on the back for taking the time to be here today, participating actively in that healing process. She goes on to say, when we experience woundings to our heart, our soul, and mind, it feels as if we have been torn open. Sometimes we are bleeding, figuratively, from every orifice of our bodies. Eventually, the bleeding stops and the wound closes up. But what is closed inside? Have we healed or just closed up with our anger, fear, and resentment? And so this process that I invite you to journey on with me today is about healing and not curing. Healing and curing are two very different concepts. Healing is a spiritual idea, and curing is a medical one. Healing is an active process. It doesn't happen to us. We must participate in the process of our healing. Healing happens for us. It is a gift we give to ourselves in the moment we decide to stay open to that which has broken us. Let yourself take another deep breath in here. And a deep sigh out. And then curl over onto one side and just curl yourself up into a little ball on your side here. Think about really curling your chin in towards your chest. Your knees are pulling in towards your torso. There's a bit of rounding in the back. And then using your hand, bring yourself up to a seated position. And you could sit in any position that's comfortable. I'm going to suggest a cross-legged position. If that's not comfortable for you, come one that is. This is going to be a really gentle practice. We're just going to move some tension in the parts of the body that get stuck. So dip your right ear over to your right shoulder. Draw your chin down towards your chest. Left ear to left shoulder. And chin to chest. Do it again, right ear to right shoulder. Chin to chest. Left ear to left shoulder. And chin to chest. Start making really easy circles with your neck all the way around. Let yourself move through this slowly. So you feel if there are any sticky parts, and if you need to take some time in any one of the sticky parts, go for it. You might consider switching directions, taking your circles in the opposite way. And then pause with your head at center and bring your hands to your knees. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. We're going to find some seated cat and cow rolls. So start to bring your chest forward. You'll draw your shoulders back. Chin lifts away from the chest and you look up. And then reverse this. Start to curl in so you dome like you have a tortoise shell. The shoulders come forward, chin pulls into chest. Even your tailbone scoops under here. And then flow between these two positions. So this is a seated cat and cow roll. Just finding some mobility in the spine. Pause when you come back up to center. And then let's find a side body stretch together. Let your right hand rest down next to your hip. Left arm reaches up and then lean over to the side. As you're pushing down into your hand that's on the earth, keep pushing your opposite hip down. The seat pushes down, get a big stretch through the side body. And then bring yourself back up through center. Opposite hand comes down. Right arm reaches up and side body stretch here. And just notice, right? Is your heart kind of turned down towards your legs? Could you take a moment and open it a little bit more forward? Bring yourself back up through center. And then if you're sitting with one leg forward or cross-legged like I am, just switch the cross, switch out the legs. And then here we will find a twist. Reach your arms up overhead. Twist your whole body to the right and then tee your arms. Let the fingertips touch down. So perhaps your right fingertips are right behind your seat, your left fingertips are right in front of you. Think about pushing down through your seat as your spine gets taller, and you take this gentle twist. Your chin can even look over your back shoulder. Maybe the gaze shifts there as well. And then allow your front hand to come onto its opposite knee. So I have my left hand on my right knee. Reach your back hand all the way up overhead and lean over towards your left knee. And then turn your chest forward. Start to reach your fingers towards your opposite knees and dome in here once more. The arms are crossed and your back is rounding. And then start to lift the chest up. Give yourself a big hug here. Elbows can come as high as your shoulders. You could take some movement side to side. And take some movement with your elbows up and down. Really getting into the upper back muscles here. And then pause with your elbows as high as the shoulders, and then take a big release. Stretch your arms really wide. Let the thumbs face up to the sky. Maybe you lift the chin, and then set your hands down. Lovely. Sweep your arms all the way up overhead. And now take that twist to the opposite side. So I'm twisting to the left, and then to your arms, bringing your fingertips down. Left hand is resting gently behind you as your right hand is forward. Again, your chin may swivel over your back shoulder. And then take your hand that's in front, slide it over to its opposite knee. Back hand reaches all the way up overhead, big side body stretch here. Nice. And then bring that hand down to its opposite knee. Curl yourself in here. Again, the arms are crossed, but you have the opposite arm forward this time. Dome into the back. And breathe. Start to lift yourself up. Give yourself that big hug again. This time make circles with the elbows. A lot of work in that heart space in this practice, particularly opening up the back of the heart space. Circle the opposite way. We tend to get a little bit closed off when we deal with grief. This is designed to help to open, to help you to receive. Pause in the middle, reach your arms very wide, and then set your hands down. Nice. Set your heels in front of you and just set your hands behind. So heels will be a little bit wider than hip distance. The legs are bent. And then drop both knees over to the right. Pause here. Just coming into some hip stretches. Bring it through center and then take it over the opposite way. Chest still stays lifted and proud. Take a few of those, just going side to side. We can hold a lot of our emotional energy in our hips. Right? And depending on where you were in your pregnancy loss, as the body prepares for childbirth, the hips move. And so really coming back, being in relationship with your hips again. In a way that can feel positive and affirming. Come back through center and send your legs long. It's okay if the knees are bent here. If you have a blanket nearby, you may even want to take the blanket and bring it underneath your knees. That'll give you just a little bit of release in the hamstring muscles. And then let yourself forward fold. Don't worry about touching your toes. That's not what this practice is about. It's not what yoga is about. You're just looking to find a bit of release here. So see if your hands, they rest anywhere. Maybe your palms even face up. Maybe your hands are down on the earth back by your hips, and that gives you more support as you take this forward fold down. Wherever you are, could you feel the earth is beneath your seat and your heels? So that your upper body, you could give permission for it to just relax down close to your thighs. And just notice the breath coming in and the breath going out. Unfurl your spine, start to sit up again. If you have the blanket, just scoot it off to the side and come back onto your back. We'll find another stretch for the hips. Take your right ankle, cross it over your left knee. So this is a figure 4 stretch. Your right hand might come to your right thigh and just really gently start to work that thigh away from the body. Keep your right foot flexed. This is plenty. If you wanted to deepen the stretch a bit, particularly in the outer hip, start to float your left foot up. And then you could interlace your hands behind your left thigh. So your right hand would reach between your legs, left hand around the back of your thigh. And you find that space, particularly in that low back area. Could you think about the low back really working its way down to the earth? Take just one more breath here. And then set the foot down if you took that option and reset your legs. Knees are up to the sky. Heels are pretty much in line with your seat. And then cross your opposite foot over. So left ankle crosses over your right knee. Your left hand could come inside that thigh, gently inviting the thigh away from you. And just notice your breath moving through your body here. If you wish, take that option called thread the needle. You could interlace your hands behind your right thigh. Feet are flexed. Perhaps a little bit more sensation in the low back and the outer hip here. Breathe right here. And then release this down. Set your feet back down to the earth and take your arms wide, from wide to either side, and then lift your hips a little bit. Scoot them over to the right and drop both of your knees to the left. So we're finding a twist here. Your knees might be in line with your hips, your ankles in line with your knees. If you have that blanket handy, perhaps the blanket comes underneath your knee rather than the knee having to come all the way to the floor. It could feel a little bit better in the body that way. Take just one more breath here. Release it out. Bring yourself back through center. Soles of the feet ground down, knees face up to the sky. If that blanket, you found it helpful, bring it over to the opposite side of your space. And then again, shift your hips to the left, drop knees to the right, finding your twist on this side. Twists are known to help support clearing some of the things that get stuck in our body, not just on the physical level, but perhaps on the emotional level as well. Follow this next breath in. And follow this next breath out. Bring your knees back through center. And then grab both knees, squeeze them in towards your chest. Kind of like when you were on your side before. Maybe you curl into a little ball here. Your chin comes up towards your chest. And then release everything down. I encourage you, if you have that blanket, to bring it right on top of your hips. Let your head rest down. Your feet will be separated, hip distance or a little bit wider. Toes could face out. And then let your arms just rest down by your sides with your palms facing up. If you feel a little bit more centered and secure with your hands on your belly, do that instead. And take these next few moments right here to just breathe in this final posture called Shavasana. And know that I'm here. As you rest here, could you notice the breath just coming in and out, whether you're breathing through your nose or your mouth? And notice if you're holding any tension still in the body. Could you make a conscious effort to release that here? And just rest. Just for the next minute or so. Let yourself give over to the earth so you can rest fully and completely. And then just start to bring a deeper level of awareness to your body. If you have time to linger in this shape a little bit longer, I highly encourage you to do so. Grief is exhausting and it requires rest. I will share with you one more passage. Time does not heal, but healing does take time. Give yourself the gift of time. To become whole means that as we open to the pain, we open to the loss. We break open, and as a consequence, we get bigger and include more of life. If you'd like to stay laying down, please feel free to do so. If you're ready to close your practice with me, curl over onto your favorite side. Give yourself a nourishing hug once more. And then gently bring yourself up to a seated position that's comfortable for you. Consider gathering your hands over top of your heart. You could just rest one hand on top of another. A moment to remember, a moment to pause and honor the soul or souls that was lost. A moment to honor yourself for all of the healing work that you have been doing. And perhaps an intention that as you move forward into this day ahead, into this week ahead, this month, this year ahead, that you allow yourself the gift of staying open and healing. We'll close with a final breath. Just take a sweet breath all the way in and let it all go. Draw your chin down towards your chest, honoring that. Release your hands. And as you're ready, bring your gaze back up. I want to thank you so much for joining me. This work is really important to me. I'm one of so many who have experienced loss, womb loss in various ways. So I honor you. I thank you for joining me, and know that you are not alone.